All right, students, so this video is to demonstrate how to get started with your vector self-portrait. So last time on our Zoom meeting, I told you that you need to have some kind of digital self-portrait ready for this project, and so now is where we're going to need that. So here I am in Adobe Illustrator, and I'm in the New Document dialog, and I want to start with just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I'm going to call this my vector self-portrait, like that. Notice it's 8.5 inches by 11 inches. We're in portrait. One artboard is all we need. We don't need bleeds or anything like that. I'm going to keep it in RGB color, and I'm going to go high PPI, and the raster effects high quality, so 300 PPI. Create. There we go. So now we have our vector self-portrait artboard here. Next step, we need to do a file, place, and I'm going to place in my picture of myself, and I'm going to click this template button to make it a template, which you'll see here. Place, it goes like that. Now, first thing about a template is, one, it is dimmed 50%, and two, it is locked down. I want to unlock it, and I think for my purposes, I don't want the dim. If you double click on the little icon here, this pops up here, and I'm going to leave it as a template, but I want to turn off the dim and hit OK. And I'm going to resize this. So I want to hover on this edge, and I want to go Option Shift and drag it so it's inside the page like that. Remember, we're making this into a vector, right? So once it's a vector, we can resize this as much as we want. We can make it bigger, we can make it smaller, we can do all kinds of things to it once it's a vector. So we just want it inside the frame right now, and then if we decide we want to resize it later, that's fine. So here we are on our artboard. We have our template layer. I'm actually going to duplicate this once, so I'm going to pull this down and duplicate it here, like that. Lock down the original, and take this guy here, and I'm going to double click, and I'm going to change it from light red to green so they're separate. They look different. I don't want it dimmed. Hit OK. So here we are. Actually, and on top of that, I don't want this to be a template. I missed that. Just turn off the template. Hit OK. So now I have a template layer that's locked down. That's our base layer. And now here, and I could have changed the name of this, so we can just call this image layer. Okay, so this is our main image layer. So if I select this layer, what I want to do is I want to do what's called an image trace. It's right here. If you click this button right away, it's going to start image tracing, and it's not going to do exactly how you want to do it. There's going to be more steps involved. So instead of clicking that button, click the little drop-down arrow here. Click, and go straight to the low fidelity photo. What that's going to do is that's going to actually image trace it with using a limited palette. I think it's like 20 colors. So let's click, and it's going to say it may go slow. Yeah, I know it's going to go slow. Hit OK. It's going to take a minute. So you'll see what it's going to do is it's going to do its best possible rendition of this using only 20 colors and blocking them out so it's vector-like, and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, here we go. So let's zoom in. So you can see, and if I click on this little button here, this gives me my image trace panel, like that. And you can see here 20 colors, and it has all these, and you can play with these by moving these. It's going to adjust how it draws it there. We're not going to mess with that because we're going to do some drawing ourselves here. But what you can see here is you can see we have 20 colors where there's multiple spots where there are shades. There are shades all over the place of this tone here. Here they use it repeatedly for the skin color. They use the dark areas, etc., etc. So what the issue when I look at something like this, the issue I say is like, I really want a drawing that has really smooth lines, and this is super rough. And so we're going to redraw this. This is going to be our template or our base for our drawing that we're going to do. So now I have this that looks really good. I'm going to lock that down. And now here's my first drawing layer. and I just might call this my base layer. And actually, I'm going to call it my skin base, like that. That's what I'm going to do. And now I'm going to zoom in here. And here's where it starts to become your decision on how you want to proceed with the drawing. Once you're at this point, now we have to start doing some drawing. So I'm going to get my Wacom tablet plugged in and set up, and then I'll start doing my first set of drawings. If you can get to this point, now you're ready to actually start creating your drawing. So I'll be right back, and I'll see you guys in just a little bit with the first set of drawings. All right, students, so I am back, and here we are. We have our template layer underneath. We have our main image layer here locked down, and then we have a skin base that we started with. I'm looking just at my face right now, and you can get to the hair and the clothes and the neck and all that later, but the first most important part is to start with the face. The way I like to work is I like to work biggest to smallest, and I use a combination of the curvature tool and the pen tool and any shape tools that I might need. I might jump in and grab them. But to start, I'm going to use my pen tool, and what I'm looking at is I'm looking at drawing this shape here. And now when I get down here by where my beard is, I don't need to be super accurate. I'm probably going to go just like around here and then back in here and then connect it back. I want to get back into it here, here, and here. So I'm going to start maybe right in this area here on this curve, maybe just after that curve, and I'll connect that in. Actually, maybe I'll start, yeah, right there. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click and drag to use my pen tool, and I'm following this shape here, this color or tone of skin, and so I want to go there, and I'm going to option click drag to make my cheekbone here. I'm going to flip that and turn off the fill. See that? Like that. That's what I want. Okay, so now here, I'm going to come, like I said, I'm not going to be perfect in this area. So I'm going to click, drag, and I do want it to line up nicely on the cheek there. Here, it doesn't matter so much, so I'm just going to kind of click, and I want to come back in here, right? So I want to come back in up there, so I'm going to click here. And now I've got this nice curve happening here, there. And I have this nice curve happening here that I want to create. So I'm going to click here and create that little curve there. Option, drag back to create this next curve here. So this is like that kind of curve. And overdid it. So I'm going to option, click, and adjust that. Nope, I'm going to have to adjust this one, bringing this back in. You know, I'm going to leave it and come back to it after I'm done. This, I'm going to come down here and hook back up, so kind of this shape, right? And I might adjust where this is going here, like that. There we go. To create that curved shape there, there. Click, option, drag. It's basically the shape. This spot here is a little wonky, so I am going to grab, and I use this pretty often, I'm going to use the smooth tool and smooth this spot and smooth this spot. Maybe smooth that one more. I think that looks pretty good. That's following the path that I want. Awesome. So I have my first shape, right? Here's the next step. Now I need color. I like to use my swatches panel. Sometimes I'll build boxes here and use the eyedropper tool. I really think I'm going to use my swatches panel for this. So here's my swatches panel. I'm going to pull it up here just to have it readily available. I'm going to clear out all of these swatches. I don't want any of them, so I'm going to, you know what? There's only one way to do it. There's not a good fast way to do it, I'm thinking. Oh, there we go. So I'm shift clicking all of those, delete. wait, I don't want to do that. I do want two swatches, my black and my white, but the rest of these I want to clear out. And those are easy to get back later. I'll keep that. Let's get rid of that. There we go. So now I have this swatch panel, and it's just black and white. And what I want to do here is go back to how I had this. What I typically do, and I can look at this in two ways, and you can decide what you want to do. So I could use the colors that the computer already gave us. So there's a color here, and a color here, and a color here. That might work okay. You could also eyedrop right on my skin of my actual face in the original picture on the template layer here. So what I'm going to do is take my eyedropper tool, and I could eyedrop right here, and notice that gives me this color here, and I could create that into a swatch. I'm actually thinking that I kind of like this better. No fill on that. So I'm going to grab this, and I think I like this tone for my skin tone, for my main skin tone. I'm going to click, and it creates that color. Actually, those look pretty darn similar, didn't they? So we're talking a very slight difference. So now that this is in the fill here, I'm going to go new swatch, and I'm just going to call this skin 1. Like that. Two things. I want to make sure it's a process color. I want to make sure it's a global swatch and keep all this just like this. Don't add it to your library. That'll slow things down. Hit OK. And now I have my first color swatch right there. So typically what I'll do is I'll shut this off, lock it, and create a new layer. And now in this next layer, I might call this skin 2, right? And now I'm going to repeat that process. I'm going to grab my pen tool or my curvature tool or whatever tool it is that I'm going to draw all my shapes with and create the next version of this. So I just did this outline, which is going to be this tone, and I'm ignoring all these little dark tones here. Those I'm not going to be putting in. They're too detailed, too complex for making this vector drawing. So what I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at this pinkish tone here, and that's my second tone. So when I look at that, I say, hey, I need to go around this and maybe create something like that, like that, like that, up through here. Yeah. See, I'm trying to decide. I think this pink tone goes, yeah, something like that. So I'm going to start here, click. And you know what? Hang on. I already did the pen tool. Let's try that curvature tool. Let's try that. So you could click, 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 click. And so now it's kind of curving. I'm going to undo that last click. I might have over clicked that last one. There we go. Here. And maybe get it to go down here and here and here. I shouldn't have done it like that. And if you notice, it's not a perfect, it's not going to be exact. Oh, I went the wrong way. Got distracted. Here, 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 and then connect it. And then connect it. Oh, close the connection. Come on. Let's go. Why won't it close? I'm clicking something weird. There we go. Okay. So now, with this one, skin 2, I need to go in and get my eyedropper tool and eyedrop that tone here, like that. And notice that that swatch is slightly different than this swatch, and so I want to do a new swatch, and I'm going to call this skin 2. Process global. Don't add it. Okay. There we go. Now if I turn this one on, you'll see how that's going to look like that, and then that's on top of it. Do you see how I did that? Now here's the trick with this. Notice that on skin 2, there are other spots, and I'm going to just go in here and shut off this piece. There are other spots that have the same tone that are on here. So this tone matches some of the tones here. So now I need to go in and actually add that to the layer where I have this part of my cheek. So I'm going to go in here on this same Skin 2 layer, grab my curvature tool, if that's the tool you're using, and go through here and create another one. I believe something like this. Come on, stay closer than that. Something like that. Here. Keep doing that. And here. You know what? I'm going to go through this beard area. My dog's making all kinds of noises right now. Making all kinds of noises. It's really annoying, actually. And bring this up here. I'm trying to look at where I want. So I'm trying to get this color. So I see it here and here and here. I thought it was part of this. I think I want it to be part of that. So I'm going to go here, here. I'm just going to bring it up to there. So I don't want it to go in my eye though, right there. So let's just back that down just a little bit. Here, here, and then connect it there. I don't know why my connection doesn't want to work. There it goes. Okay. And we might have to smooth that. I'm noticing right here, I don't like how sharp this is. So I'm just going to smooth that out. See how that smoothed out that edge? Just softened it a little bit. I'm going to smooth it here, this edge a little bit. There we go. I like that shape. Okay, good. Notice how nothing is going to be exactly the way that it's drawn on here, because we're just looking at shades and tones and creating the form. We're slowly going to build up and create the form that will be our face. Now, I don't really need to do the eyedropper tool here because I already know that I don't want a stroke on it, and my fill here is going to be this color. Oop. Let's click on that and fill here, and that should be on the same layer as this first Skin 2. So now I should have 2 pieces of Skin 2. I'm doing the wrong thing here. Okay, turn that back on. Turn that back on. And you can see how it's starting to build up, right? And so I need to repeat this. I need to continue on, and I'm going to turn this one off and lock it. I'm going to look at this one. I can turn off the individual sub-layers. See, these are the sub-layers. It's the first one I drew, or second one I drew, first one I drew. And so now I want to look, okay, well, where else do I see this skin tone? So I saw some underneath here, and now I also see some of that skin tone. Maybe I got that chunk up there. Do I see any of that tone over here? This tone, I think I see it here underneath my eye there. It gets pretty complicated in here. So I think what I'm going to do is do a similar shape where I get a chunk of this all together. Yeah, and I think I see a little bit here in the nose, right? So I need to put a piece here. So that's my next step. So let's repeat. Let's try that one more time. So Skin Tone 2, and we're using our curvature tool for this part. So I'm going to go here and maybe just create this little tone here. Boom. That was easy enough. I didn't even turn that off. Okay. I think maybe we need to do one more. Curvature tool. And so I'm seeing this tone here under my eye. So maybe I'll go there, there, to there. Yeah, let's try that. Yeah, see, I don't like how that's going into my eye there. It's too much. So let's try that again. Let's start over here, actually. So it goes way up here. I don't want it to touch my nose area, so I'm going to go underneath. This is going to be hard to see, so I'm going to do that. Here. You know what? I might just connect it with this tone and go underneath here. It's very close to my eye. Smooth that out a little bit here. I don't like how rough that is there. Let's soften that. Let's soften that. Soften it until it gets the way I want it. And if it doesn't get the way I want it, then I'll have to go in with my pen tool and adjust it. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, come on. I like that. I like that. So now I like that, but see how it's getting into my eye area. You know what? I'm going to leave it, and if I have to go back and adjust this piece once I'm making the eye, I will. But I think it might work okay. So, swatch. So I want to go no stroke. That swatch. There we go. Okay, moving right along. Okay, so I can look at my layers, and you can see now Skin 2 has quite a few little pieces to it, right? Skin 1, and I turned off a couple of these in here. Skin 2. And so I'm slowly building this up. Now, as you can imagine, the next spot, and so if you notice, I'm turning off the sub layers so they don't distract me. That's why I'm keep shutting these off. Those are the sub layers. This is the full skin base layer, which we don't need right now, but just every once in a while I want to check to make sure things are lining up. Yeah, I think I like the way that looks. My question might be, let's see this forehead spot. Yeah, let's just look at the forehead area, and let's make the next piece and the next piece, and you'll see how that's going to start to build up and start to look like a realistic forehead. So let's get a, we've already done a Skin 2, so let's turn those on here, right? But then turn them off here and lock our Skin 2 and create a new layer. And if you notice, an important thing of what I'm doing here is being really organized about my layers and sub layers, because this can get really complex really quickly if you're not. Okay, so Skin 3, and I'm gonna use that curvature tool again, and I've got that layer and that layer done, so I'm gonna go inside of that, maybe something like right in here, like that, kind of following this path. I was thinking that it's this tone here, which goes out there, hits here, so it's hard to see it further in here, so I'm just going to ignore it there and get into this area here if I can. There, there, that one, not that one. So I'm thinking it's going underneath here, up to here, curves down, and connects in like that. I think I like that. And now I don't have a swatch for this one, so I need to go ahead and get my eyedropper tool. And I was thinking that it was going to be this tone here, like that. And so then here in my swatches, I just kind of like to collapse it down, but then keep it just hanging down here so it's not in the way, and go new swatch. This is Skin 3. Okay. And so now you can see how it kind of lines up and overlaps, and now I could even say, oh well, you know what, it didn't land exactly where I want. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. I'm going to move it over and put it so it fits inside of this, or maybe it doesn't really fit inside of this and it needs to stay where it was. You have to decide that, and that's not something you have to decide this minute. You can come back around to that. So one of the things I'll often do is shut this off, and now I can see this layer. Does that fit where I want it to fit? If I turn this on, how's that going to look? Yeah, I think this is going to work just fine. And then I shut this off. Now let's lock that one in. And obviously I would do more of that tone, but I'm trying to move through here and keep building it. So here's layer 6 now, Skin 4, right? And pen tool or curvature tool or whatever, And I think this one I'm gonna go this pinkish tone, and it's gonna go like that, and back this way and that way, and that'll be pretty good. So yeah, let's try that. So here, 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 and I don't like that. I need some more detail. So smaller clicks will give me more detail, more control of what I'm trying to create. This color here. And now here it's covered up by this one. So I'm gonna kind of wrap all the way over here. All the way back around. Yep. Need another dot there, there, something like that. Eyedropper tool. Eyedrop this color that I want there, and now make that a new swatch. Right. What was this one? Skin 4. Is that right? I'm starting to forget my swatch colors. I think that was skin 4. Here we go. What does this say? Skin 3, skin 4, yeah. Perfect. Okay, so if I turn those back on, and obviously I would need multiple of those. It looks pretty good so far. Good. Lock that one down, create a new layer, and now shut these off. And I clearly need a lighter tone here and a highlight tone here. And now once I have all of these, I can go in and start redrawing all these spots on throughout my face. So let's go 2 more. Here we go here. In this one, I'm just looking at this spot here. I think that's the only really light of that tone. Only skin tone. There, there, there. Make it pop out there. Come around. And I might smooth that a little bit right there. There. Looks pretty good. Oh no, I don't. Actually, I'll leave that. Eyedropper. Drop this one and make that a new swatch. New swatch. Skin 5. Good. And lock that guy. Layer 8. Curvature tool. And I'm going to go in. Keep forgetting to do that. Here, this is going to be my lightest skin tone. And if you notice, this is going to wrap all the way over here. Let's see if I can't get that down there. Like that. There we go. Pretty good. Kind of missed over here though. Maybe I should have extended that. Should I try and extend that out? It's going all over the place. Kinda, yeah, like that. Let's add a point here. Pull that down. Let's add a point here. Pull that down. Which means we have to add a point here and pull that back up. I do kind of like that. Let's see if we can smooth it a little bit here. Yeah. Yeah. We'll leave that for now and we'll see if we have to adjust it later. Eyedropper. Eyedrop that. Okay, So this should be just like that. And now you can see that's starting to build. You can see where the eye is going to be. This is the cheekbone. And as we build more detail, you'll be able to see that this is going to start to look like a real person instead of just a flat inanimate object. And obviously you can see I'm only working on skin tones here. So now at this point, I'm going to go back, shut all these off. That one's done because that's the base layer. This one, I might want to turn on and off this layer like this and say, okay, here's this color. Did I get all the pieces of that color that I want? That one might be done as well. Sorry, not that one, this one. I think that's pretty good for now. So then I might go to my third one, which I've only done up here, right? And I know I need that color to happen in other spots. So I need this color. When I see it down here, I need to mark it right there. And then add that into this layer, skin 3. So draw it on skin 3. And so on and so forth, and that'll build this up. So what I plan on doing is doing a skin, all these, so I have 6 skin tones, right? 6 skin tones. Skin base, skin 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'll build all of those up together, and then once I'm done with those, I'll shut those off, and I'll actually do like maybe a beard or hair, just a set of hair colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 or 5 different hair colors, and start with a hair base, the hair base all the way through here, and then add the slightly lighter, and that'll create all the curls and texture in the hair. And then maybe I'll do another set, 3 or 4 or 5 beard layers, where I create some beard layers and start creating all the shapes in here. That'll be complicated because you can see how small these are, so it'll take a while. Once I'm done with that, I'll do a shirt layer where I have maybe 2 or 3 colors of the shirt, and then I'll do a background where I could have a couple colors. I might just make a flat background up. We'll see about that when I get there. Okay? And I didn't even talk about the eyes. Same idea with the eyes, though. Get in here and draw, and you might start with a circle for the eyes, and then build the other colors inside of that. So yeah, we'll get to that once we do. So this should give you a start of what you need to create, and in the end, you should be able to put together a pretty cool portrait. When you zoom out, it'll be really a 3-dimensional vector drawing of yourself. So looking forward to seeing what you guys put together. Email me with questions. I'll keep working on mine and keep building it up. And hopefully by the end of the week here, I'll be able to wrap this thing up with you guys. All right. Thanks for joining me. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at our next Zoom meeting on Monday. Yeah, Monday. All right. See you again soon. Bye.